Hi! Hi everyone! Today we're talking about dating. You know, is it worse in South Florida? I feel like it is worse in South Florida.
I'd like to call a therapist in New York and see if their clients are saying the same thing, because all my clients that have ever been transplanted, they're like, Florida's the worst, but they didn't meet anybody in New York either, or Boston or wherever. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. I don't know if we're the worst, but I'm sure that it is different down here.
It's different in this day and age.
Yes.
You know, I feel like when I was in school, when I was in college, like it was so much easier to date because men actually had to look at you in the face. You know, than now where everything's online, everything's dealing with social media. And this topic actually came up because someone hit us up and said, can you talk about dating? This one was 32 years old. She says, I'm not really on social media. Like, how do I meet men? Yeah. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day. She's in her like late 40s and she is a beautiful woman. And she said, no one even asks me out.
Yeah, because I don't, if they're buried in their phone, I mean, think about it. I remember meeting people. I'm a flirt. I got my first boyfriend in fourth grade. I'm going to tell him myself. I got my first boyfriend in
she's happily married
grade.
Now. We have to say that.
Yes, but I got my first boyfriend in fourth grade because I was bored in class. And so I was doing this. I was looking across at people and going, and winking.
I love it.
It's crazy. I was 10 years old.
Is this shirt?
Right, and I did not look at all like this, so I needed all the help I could get. And I have natural curls, so I had an afro, and I was smiling and winking. And this kid across the way, Chris, I won't tell his last name, but he saw me and he was like a shy kid, and he wrote, "Will you go with me? Yes or no?" And he sent me the note, and I checked yes and sent it back, and that was my first boyfriend.
I love it.
We went on a little hayride together. I remember all the details. But it's very funny. My point being, I got his attention because I was making eye contact. I was smiling. We were flirting back and forth. He didn't have his face buried in a phone. Right. It is kind of hard when you're out in the world. I mean, I think that's rule number one. How do I meet somebody? You do have to put yourself out there. You do have to make eye contact. You do have to body posture that's leaning in, that's saying, I'm interested, smiling when you make eye contact. But there's a chance that the person's literally looking at their phone.
You know, I was walking the other day and noticing how many people were just walking down the street on their phone. Yeah. Like, people are not conscious right now. They're not looking, and you might be this person too. I mean, you might be the one that's not really paying attention. Yeah. I think you really have to get off your phone when you're in the grocery store. Yeah. I think you have to get off your phone when you're, out doing your hobbies or whatever you're doing. I think you really need to be more present. I think that will help.
Yeah, when you're at the dog park, you can be with your dog running and be on your phone, or you can be talking to the person next to you, smiling, making eye contact, talking. What kind of dog is that? Engaging with people. I mean, it really is true. You can be completely disconnected and shut down 24/7.
I think the interesting thing is you don't want that guy that's only going to be dating people in their phone. You don't want that guy. Right. You want the quality guy that's going to
or the guy who's more like you. Because if you're the 32-year-old who's saying, I don't want to do it online, I don't want to be buried in my phone, I don't want to be on social media, at least you want your likeness.
Right, exactly. The other thing that I think is really interesting, and I think, this probably goes without saying, but you really have to put yourself out there. I mean, go to places and start doing things that you enjoy that you normally wouldn't do. I think we have a lot of fear that we're afraid to do new things or try new things. But I think you would be surprised once you start to do things, you will meet other like-minded people. And I think that's the key, is finding someone who shares your values, your hobbies, someone that really wants to do the same things that you want to do.
Well, I have a couple recommendations that I've been making to clients. Paddleboarding club, that it's so beautiful right now. Oh my gosh. So if you have any interest in the water at all, there's a lot of people in that organization and they do a lot of stuff. So if you can get into that, dance classes.
Oh.
People do dance classes as couples, but everyone has friends. I mean, I'm so grateful I met my husband through a friend, right? So I told all my friends, if you know of anybody, I don't want to pick for myself anymore, pick for me. So even if you're meeting more people at the dance place and they're all your age and they have friends and maybe they bring their single friend, oh, I should bring so-and-so. I didn't realize there would be somebody here for him to dance with. So everything is a connection, but doing what you love, then you get to meet somebody who's doing what you love.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a great way
Any
too.
sort of like exercise groups,
Yeah.
like, with me, I do yoga. There's not a lot of guys in yoga, but what I found is a like-minded community. A lot of people who really think like me, and it really kind of opens your world to meeting different people. And it might not be that the guy you're eventually going to date is going to be in your yoga class, but maybe his sister is, So I think that once we start to open ourselves to new possibilities, you will start to see, and I really caution young women nowadays to rely on the bar scene. Oh. And I think no matter what age, you shouldn't rely on the bar scene, because you're dealing with a totally different deal, I think, when you're meeting people at the bar scene.
Well, like-minded people,
right.
So maybe you're there once a week, but they're there every week. And, a lot of times, not always, I mean, gosh, I've met people in bars, but definitely alcohol is, like people, there's some people that are in the bar all the time, and then you meet them at a bar, and then it turns out that they have a problem with alcohol. So that, not always, obviously, but that can come up too. Right. And then also, most of us phase out of that. So that only covers maybe people in their 20s. But I mean, if you're the guy at the bar at 45, you feel like the creepy guy.
Right.
So it's not really an option for a lot of people. But really, eye contact, smiling, flirting, talk to your friends about how you show up. I think that's a really great tool. I didn't know how I showed up. My mom is a therapist, and she sat me down one day and said, "You're leading the wrong way."
Really?
Yeah, because I was leading, even when I was in my 20s and I was, attractive and had good things going on, but I was leading with the, I don't need a guy.
Yeah.
I'm
independent.
Right. And she's like, who are you attracting with that? Right. So she really talked to me about going in and leading with the kind of, could you help me open this type thing? Or, letting someone open the door. She helped encourage me to show a different side of myself. So have your friends highlight, how do you show up? What side of yourself are you showing? We have many sides. I have a very independent side, but I also have a side that's like, please open my door.
Yeah. And I feel like in this day and age, a lot of people have a lot of fear of strangers and talking to people, which I didn't. I grew up in a very small town, so I will talk to anybody.
No one's a stranger.
I notice a lot of women who are very personable and nice and kind people kind of get that bitch factor going when they're when someone's trying to talk to them, and that's just. If you're doing that, you're not going to connect with someone.
Right.
Or the right person.
What? It's 2 o'clock. Right? So it's definitely.
Or if you're in the grocery store and you're trying to open a door and someone's trying to help you and you're
I got it.
Yeah, I got it. Or, really, that's where you can start those conversations.
Yeah.
How do you feel about online dating? I mean, do you think it's...
I have to say I see a ton of people meeting people. I mean, I think anything is a venue of connection. It's just like, even those stupid shows, The Bachelor, you still have 30 people there. So, one of them might be compatible. You know what I mean? So anytime you add numbers, it's a numbers game. So anytime you add an opportunity to look at 1,000 people, there's a chance you're going to meet somebody that you connect with. One of my dearest friends, met her husband online, and he was friends with Brian, and that's how I met Brian. So I'm like, I can never bash online. And they have a great marriage, and they're a great couple, and there's nothing wrong with either one of them. So I think anything that we would participate in means there's other people that are great that are going to participate in it. So I hate when people say, well, I would never want to do that because, they're crazy, but we're thinking of doing it. You're not crazy.
Right. My girlfriend met the guy that she's with online on a dating site, but she went through a lot of different people before she found this guy.
Be discriminate, yes.
Right, and it's a numbers game, but I will tell you, here's the interesting thing. We, as women a lot of times think, and as men too, we automatically think we have to have this instant chemistry or this instant connection. And the other thing that you may be doing is cutting off the people that really can be good for you and that you could have a long-term relationship with, but you're cutting them off too quickly.
Yeah.
And I know that my girlfriend was doing that. You know, if she didn't have an instant chemistry, it's like, okay, I don't want to see him again. But she made a new rule. She made a new rule that she was going to give each guy, someone that she really felt like they had a lot in common,
Right.
she was going to give those guys at least 3 chances.
Nice.
And
I
so
like
after
it.
3 chances, if she did not feel that connection, then she wasn't going to go out with them anymore.
Yep.
But this one
Love
guy that she's with to this day, and they are madly in love, was not the instant connection guy.
Yeah.
You know, it was after the 3rd date that she really was like, I like this guy, you know, and she wasn't even going to go on the second one. So I think you also have to realize that maybe, you know, take a step back. And if you really do have a lot in common with someone, I mean, I'm not talking about give some guy a second date
Right.
that you really know you have nothing in common. This is
Yeah.
going nowhere. But someone
Right.
that maybe you do have a lot in common in, but you're not feeling that instant chemistry, that give them a little bit of time that maybe, you know, you can build on that.
Well, Brian was not the instant connection
chemistry.
guy. And
Yeah.
he's not the person I ever would have chosen for myself.
Right.
I just wouldn't have gone for his type per se. But it obviously 8 years later, I mean, I'm nuts about him.
Yeah.
So I definitely love that. I love the 3-date rule. And then a little side note, if you are bat crazy for somebody on the first date, danger, man.
Yeah.
Danger, because there's all kinds of fun little expressions, but sometimes people say like begins fast, ends fast. A lot of times that's the neurotic part of us that's
Yeah.
like goes crazy and has so much chemistry that sometimes the high is so high and the low is so low.
Yeah.
So
have
you
to be
almost
really-
want that middle ground.
Yeah, you have to be really careful about that guy that you like.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Or woman.
careful. Very
We're talking to
careful.
both men and women.
Yeah.
So
Very careful.
Yeah. All right. Any other advice that we can give to our 32-year-old self?
Oh gosh, my 32
I was
year-old
married. I was
self.
married at 32. I mean, I got married at 27, and I would even say that it was that I got married too young. You know, I mean, 27 doesn't sound really young, but I was such a different. I can't say I got married too young, but I'm a very different person now at 44 than I was at 27.
Very, yeah. No, I got married at 26, I think, and I would say that definitely I didn't know anything about anything.
Right.
We
Well,
think
and
we
we're going
know
to
a
look
lot.
back at ourselves at 44 and say, like, we didn't
Oh
know
my
anything.
gosh, why were we giving advice?
That's
Awful.
right. That's right.
No.
Well,
yeah, this one's a tough one. I think it's just about putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
There's a book, I wanna say this the right way, How to Stop Being Yourself. I think that's what it's called. But it's basically about changing patterns and habits. Google that. I'm going to try to see if that's the name of it, and we can post it on our site. I'll put the right thing. But I'm hearing lots of great feedback from people about how powerful the book is. It's helping them change their patterns, but it's also helping them change, you know, these old tried but true patterns that are getting them nowhere. You know, so how to change the habit of being yourself is, I think, the name of the book.
yeah, and I'm looking this up really quick because my girlfriend, who I was just telling you about, she also read this book right before she found her, and I think it's Why Men Love Bitches. Does that sound
Yep,
right?
that's the name of it.
Why Men Love Bitches.
Yes.
And I know that sounds like it's not about being a bitch when you first meet someone, which is what we talked about not doing.
Right.
But it talks about how once you start to be in a relationship with someone, how to navigate that. And because she said I was very clingy and it
Men
in the
do not
beginning,
like
and
that.
men did not like that. So that might be a good book if you find that you're in relationships with men that don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, and that might be a good read for you. Why Men Love Bitches.
Yeah, that's a famous tried and true one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's about being overly available. And I think what
Right.
men in the beginning, men get scared that you are going to suffocate them to death
Right.
and smother them to death. And most of us women, we're not, but we're so excited.
Right.
And we're so overly enthusiastic that they get misinterpret that we're going to suffocate them. And so the book will teach you how to get through that phase. I mean, I had to do it with Brian because he gave me all the tips in the beginning that, oh, this girl was great, but then she suffocated me to death, and
Right.
she gave me a rule book, and she did this, and I'm like taking notes going, okay, this guy's going to need a lot of space in the beginning.
Right.
But as soon as I was able to give that, once he realized I'm not that girl, but you don't look like that girl when you're excited. You look like the smothering girl, even if after a year you're back to work, you're back to your kids, you're back to your life, and you're not that girl at all. Even those of us that aren't that girl look like that girl in the beginning, and so they're scared. So you have to kind of, I don't want to say fake it, but you have to, you know, really show them, I have my own life.
Restraint.
Yeah, restrain. Yeah. Show them you have your own life, and that you're busy and you're doing and you're full of, you know, you've got a lot going on, and then they're like, oh, okay, she just wants to spend time with me.
Right.
So it's this delicate dance.
Yeah.
No small feat.
Yeah, and don't forget to talk to your friends and let them know that you're interested, and let them know if they hear of anyone, and to set you up. So I think those are, you know, you just have to put yourself out there, you know, no matter what you're doing, no matter what kind of change you're trying to make in your life, you have to let other people know. You will be surprised how much people will help you once you open up the possibility. And I would also say, we talked about this in our last episode about making that vision board. I mean, if this is something that you really want in your life, if a relationship is really important to you, you know, make that vision board.
Vision board,
really put it out there that, you know, this is important to you, and write down the qualities that you're looking for in someone. You know, really, journal about it and say, you know, this is what I want, and you will be surprised at how eventually that person will show up. And have some patience. I know it's hard at 32, because at 32 you're thinking, I just want to start in a relationship. I want to have children, or whatever it is, you know. So.
Right, and it's kind of like, now I have to leave you with the complete conflictual advice, because it's what's the caveat that everyone says? When you stop looking, that's when you find.
Right.
So if you can just spend a lot of time investing in all the things you love about your life, like joining the paddleboard club because you love paddleboarding, and running, and going to the gym, and doing, like, fill your life with what you love, and you'd be surprised how someone will show up in one of those areas because you're not looking.
You're kind of letting it go.
So
do your vision board, but then let it go.
Right. Hold on tight,
and then let it go. I know. We say that with so much in life, but it really does work. It's hard. We know it's hard. But if you can just put it out there and then let it go, you will be surprised at how many things come back to you.
Yeah. Trust.
All right, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them on the bottom of the video. Like our page, like our videos, share our videos. That is the highest compliment you can give us. And if you have any show topics, please leave them or send us a message. We'd love to tackle any issues that you're having. All right.
Good luck. Happy hunting.
Yes. But don't hunt.
Yes.
All right, have a good day, everyone.